Started singing this stuff when I was like 10 years old. Growing up in Rogers Park in the city, and I've been infused with all this kind of togetherness and working together to a final end, to an end that makes us all feel good. Most of this started out in the mining sections of this country. This is a song called "The Miner's Lifeguard." Miner's life is like a sailor's aboard a ship to cross the wave. Every day his life's in danger, but he ventures being brave. Watch the rocks, they're falling daily. Careless miners often fail. Keep your hand upon the dollar and your eye upon the scale. Here's the chorus. Union miners stand together. Heed no operator's tale. Keep your hand upon the dollar and your eye upon the scale. You've been doffed and docked, my boys. You've been loading 3 to 1. What have you to show for working since this mining has begun? Overalls and cans for rockers. In your shanties, sleep on rails. Keep your hand upon the dollar and your eye upon the scale. Sing it with me now, union miners. Union miners stand together. Heed no operator's tale. Heed no operator's tale. Keep your hand upon the dollar. Keep your hand upon the dollar and your eye upon the scale. And your eye upon the scale. In conclusion, bear in memory. Keep the password in your mind. God provides for every nation. When in union they combine, stand like men and fight together. Victory for you will prevail. Here we go. Keep your hand on the dollar and your eye upon the scale. Union miners stand together. Ain't no operator's tale. Keep your hand upon the dollar and your eye upon the scale. Yes, and keep your hand upon the dollar and your eye upon the scale. There you go, folks. And the most important thing, your kids, our kids today aren't being taught about the miners, about the people who died for labor, and about the people who organized. So make sure that your teachers know what you want your kids to learn.
Thank you. That's Norm Siegel, a veteran folk singer. I can say that because I was a veteran folk singer listener too. We have another block of speakers coming up, and I'm excited about them. First up will be Brian Dupuls, who is the... Please. I'm sorry, I'm butchering a lot of names today. That will continue. He is representing the Northern Illinois Federation of Labor, AFL-CIO. Following him is Nancy Zahorik. She is the Christina. It says Christina here, but I'm not doing so well. Christina Zahorik, she is the Democratic State Committee woman from this district and also the vice chair of the Henry County Democratic Party and a pretty good speaker, I might say. And following that is a person who's graced this stage for our previous incarnations. That's Tim Jackson, a labor historian of note and a retired member of the Airline Pilots Association.
Good morning.
Hey, Brian.
I'm Brian Dupuis. I'm a retired letter carrier who served the community of Highland Park for 43 years, just short of. Last year, I was a proud Bernie Sanders delegate to the Democratic National Convention. I'm going to warn you, I was going to have a printed piece to work on, and the power went out at the block I live on at 7:15 this morning. So I've kind of had to reconstruct things. So if I meander a bit, please have some patience with me. This Labor Day, designated to recognize and celebrate what working people have achieved, it is essential we realistically assess and recognize where we are now and what our goals and plans are for moving forward. Since government is the operative vehicle to advance our collective interests, we must participate. As you've heard, democracy is not a spectator sport. And if we don't participate, it will be controlled by other powerful forces, most of which are rooted in greed. If our goal is to expand the middle class, and mine certainly is, then having workers paid a livable wage has to be paramount. And our governor recently vetoing the $15 minimum wage for Illinois workers is just flat out disrespectful to work and workers.
He's a crook.
Does McDonald's tell its shareholders that they should get minimal profits because they're just making their money flipping burgers? Doesn't work that way. The two main ways for workers to access excuse me a second here. Not the first I've had. The two main ways for workers to access the middle class has been, one is education. And families and students have taken on a lot of debt to get that. But it's not for everyone. Well, it is for everyone. I would argue that point. Education is for everyone, and it's a lifelong process. I'm still in it. The second way, though, has been collective bargaining. Union collective bargaining. It's a shame that in our United States of America, workers get their health care, if they can, from a union. A lot. If you can get it without a union, God bless. But the unions have been instrumental in getting health care for workers. Whoops. Okay. Most of our youth, unfortunately, are either unfamiliar or estranged about unions, and a lot of that is because of corporate-owned media messaging and hostile political rhetoric. That an oligarch like Donald Trump, with the assistance of Russian oligarchs, could persuade American voters that the Republican Party was the best vehicle for their future tells us Democrats, progressives, and unions we have a serious messaging problem. However, we are now seeing what Republican rule looks like, and it ain't pretty. Thank you, John McCain, and all the Democratic senators, and the Republican senator from Alaska. I had her name this morning down here, but it's not here now. Thank you. Thank you for saving health care for millions of American families. Many employers and unions are tasked with the responsibility of providing workers health care. Don't ask me why, I'll leave that to a historian to give that story. But this system we have has bankrupted millions of Americans, as well as led to premature deaths. Do you know the primary determinant of life expectancy in the United States for many, if not most, of Americans? It's their zip code. What kind of bull crap is that? Bullshit it is. Absolutely it is. It is way past time for the system that spends for a system that currently spends 97% of its expenditures on program for people instead of a middle layer of insurance companies and profits. Dental and vision care is part of essential health care. It's not going to drop from the sky. We're going to have to fight for it. Medicare for all, including dental and vision. One thing I would like us all to recognize is America is still the richest nation on earth. And it's actually never been richer than it is now. What's different is to how it's being distributed and where it's concentrated. I'm going to leave, I had some quotes I wanted to share, but I'm going to leave that for next year or another time. Thank you very much.
Hello. It's nice to see so many friendly faces and folks that I know here today. We've got about, someone did a count, I think it's just over 150 people that are actually staying here in the square. So thanks for coming out on what was supposed to be a miserably hot day, and it turned actually, I think, into a great day with the cloud cover. I'm Christina Zahorik. I am the State Central Committee woman for the 14th Congressional District, which is part of the state party for the Democrats, and I'm also the vice chair of the local McHenry County Democratic Party. Thank you. And I want to say thank you to the Progressives and Indivisible for the third year of hosting this important event, giving space to the history of the labor movement, particularly here in Woodstock. And the first thing I wanted to do was to tell you about a memory I have when I was a middle school kid. And it's when my family bought our house. It allowed us to move from the, I don't know if we can call us working class then, but at least into working class or lower middle class when my father was able to buy that house. It was a modest 3-bedroom brick house with 1 bathroom. And I recall that mainly because, it was over in Lake County. I grew up in Waukegan, Illinois. But my parents were able to move us into that house simply because 6 years earlier, my father was able to get a union job. And he got a union job as a newspaper man, as a reporter. And with that job, and also with my mother working for the telephone company in Waukegan, Illinois, they were able to save enough money to put a down payment on a house and qualify for a mortgage. He got that union job in part because after he left the Army, he was able to use his GI Bill and go to college. The first in his family. And to be clear,